3, 2, 1, go!
Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, it is KingNido here, and we are here for Game 8 of Round 4 in the 2022 PokeType League season. We're going to have 4 games a week until Pokemon Day in 2023 as the new Morphle Devils start out with Hydreigon and Umbreon, whereas it's Crobat and Roserade starting out for the Jubilee Venom, and immediately Crobat goes with a Razor Leaf, hits both Umbreon and Hydreigon. But what is this? Umbreon is in fact a Zoroark in its illusion form and immediately responds with an Eerie Impulse, going for Roserade. With that move there, looking to lower the special attack of Roserade, and Roserade has that 125 special attack as that Clanging Scales, a huge Clanging Scales from Hydreigon, hits both Roserade and Crobat, does lower its own stats there, and Roserade responds with a Fusion Flare, going for the Illusion Zoroark there, taking some damage as Crobat follows it up with a Swagger, looking to confuse the pseudo-legendary Hydreigon on the dark side team here. Does sharply boost its attack stat with that, but again leaves it confused. Zoroark going with a Wild Charge onto Crobat. That's super effective, and Crobat is eliminated with that move. So already first elimination in the matchup. Zoroark does get some recoil damage from that move. See if Hydreigon here can shake off the confusion, and it doesn't, doing huge damage to itself in its confusion. Roserade going with the Thunder, and it's going to bring that down onto the pseudo-legendary. Hydreigon actually did more damage to itself, considering that it wasn't very effective, but Toxapex now coming out for the Jubilee Venom, and a round from Zoroark onto Roserade, and Hydreigon snaps out of its confusion, going for the Tail Whip, going to lower the defenses of the Jubilee Venom Poison-type Pokemon here. And Toxapex, speaking of defenses, huge 152 defense stat as a Roar of Time from Toxapex onto Zoroark gets the elimination. Zoroark is taken out of this matchup. Now, if that had gone for Hydreigon, it would have been super effective. You've got to think it would have gotten the elimination then too, as Crocodile comes out for the new Morphle Devils, and a Rising Voltage onto Toxapex, super effective from Hydreigon, and now a Thunder Shock, except Crocodile goes for the Thunder Shock on Roserade, which isn't very effective, and to continue the electric theme, an electric terrain is set up by Roserade. The Jubilee Venom surely grateful that wasn't set up before Toxapex took that damage from Hydreigon, and Toxapex now recharging as an Acid Spray from Hydreigon onto Toxapex won't be very effective on the Poison type. However, it will lower its special defense, that 142 special defense being lowered as Crocodile with the Scold onto Roserade. Another not very effective attack from Crocodile to Roserade, who hangs on and responds with a Sticky Web. So it lays that Sticky Web on the side of the new Morphle Devils as a Thunder does not affect Crocodile from Toxapex. Hydreigon going with the Tickle now onto Roserade. Now Roserade will have its attack stat and its defense lowered. Crocodile with the Peck onto Toxapex. No one going for the super effective moves at the moment, but Roserade does go for the Low Kick. Super effective hit on Hydreigon, and the pseudo legendary is taken out with that move. Now Toxapex goes for a Tail Whip. We did see this earlier. Now it's going to lower the defense of Crocodile as Weavile comes out and immediately gets caught in that Sticky Web. It will lower its speed stat, but Weavile has that pressure ability, so it's going to take an extra PP every time one of the Jubilee Venom go for an attack. Now Belly Drum from Crocodile is going to cut its health in half, but maximizes its attack, see if it can capitalize on that. But Roserade first is going to go for the Smog on Weavile. Doesn't do a great deal of damage, but does leave Weavile with that poison status condition as Weavile responds with a Trop Kick. Not very effective attack on Roserade again, but this one gets the elimination and ties things up between the Venom and the Devils. Crocodile taking some damage from Toxapex there as Weavile is hurt by the poison that it received from Roserade. And now we have Nidoqueen, an incredible Pokemon, as we all know, coming out. And a Grass Pledge eliminates Toxapex by Crocodile. So the Devils have taken the lead, but Nidoqueen goes with a Magma Storm onto Crocodile and gets the elimination. So quick response there by the Jubilee Venom for the elimination, and both sides down to 3 Pokemon as a grassy terrain is now set up by Weavile, taking over that electric terrain. So Pokemon who have taken damage will be restoring health at various points. Speaking of restoring health, there's Weavile getting some health restored before that poisoning does damage to it. Again, 3 Pokemon left on both sides as Incineroar comes out for the new Morphle Devils, and Nidoking, the incredible Nidoking, clearly Jubilee Venom are going to dominate the rest of this match with Nidoking on the field and immediately going for an incredible strength stat as Nidoking would on Incineroar. It's going to lower Incineroar's attack stat. It would normally restore Nidoking's health, but it's already at full strength as a Quiver Dance from Weavile is going to raise its special attack and special defense as well as its speed. Nidoqueen goes with a Mud Slap onto Incineroar. Super effective. And Incineroar is going to respond with a Snipe Shot. Looks like it's going for Nidoqueen with that move. A huge, super effective, critical hit. But Nidoqueen hangs on as Weavile restores some health, as does Nidoqueen from that grassy terrain. So does Incineroar. Nidoking, the very great Nidoking, obviously. Still at full strength. And there's that poisoning hurting Weavile as the Baby Doll Eyes from Weavile lowers Nidoking's attack stat, but still Nidoking is going to go for a Giga Impact onto Incineroar there. Not a bad hit, not Nidoking's best, we know he can do better, as a Blaze Kick is followed up by Nidoqueen, which isn't very effective on Incineroar, but Incineroar goes with the Shore Up, so immediately trying to restore some of its health that it just lost from the two very great pairing of the Nidos here. Nidorinos, I'm sure you can appreciate that. And there's that grassy terrain again taking effect on the battlefield. Everyone barring Nidoking getting a little bit of health restored as Weavile taking more damage from that poisoning, desperately trying to hold on and now going for the bulk up. So not going for an offensive type move, instead it's going to raise its attack and its defense, trying to boost all of its stats here as Nidoking has to recharge, but Nidoqueen for the team doing the rising voltage onto Weavile, and Incineroar going with the Poison Tail now onto Nidoqueen, doing very minimal damage with that not very effective attack. And already we are back to everyone restoring a little bit of health, but again, the all fantastic Nidoking still at full strength. That is right, Nidoking dominating this season. Well, not really, but trying. As Weavile now fails with the Magnetic Flux, Nidoking goes with the Seed Bomb. Looks like it's going to go for Weavile with that move and gets the elimination. Weavile taken out with a critical hit. That is right, Nidoking has taken out the Ice Dark type Pokemon because it is amazing. Nidoqueen now with a Dragon Dance, going to boost its special attack stat here. This could be, its attack and speed stat. I don't know why I thought it was a special attack, but a mean look from Incineroar onto Nidoking, so it can no longer escape. But the Pokemon do not try to escape in these matchups. And again, that grassy terrain still restoring health, almost gets Incineroar back to full strength, but that grassy terrain does disappear from the battlefield as the new Morphodillas send out their last Pokemon, which was hinted at earlier, being Umbreon, who instantly gets caught in that sticky web that was set up very early in this matchup. Nidoqueen now going for Incineroar with a Mega Punch, and Nidoking follows it up with a Night Slash. It's not very effective, not a very good play there by Nidoking, unfortunately, but Umbreon with a Gear Grind onto Nidoking, a multi-hit move, a very good hit with the first one. It's got two. That second one was even better, but it only gets 2 hits. Magnetic Flux now fails from Incineroar, and Nidoqueen going with a Power Swap, choosing Umbreon as the target to switch all the changes to their attack and special attack. Nidoking now going with the workup. We did see this get played earlier, so Nidoking boosting its attack and its special attack. Umbreon using the Will-O-Wisp onto Nidoqueen here. So Nidoqueen will be left with the burn status condition. And Incineroar though goes for the fishiest rend onto Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen hangs on, super effective, but it's got that burn, and the burn is gonna finish it off. You know that Nidoking is gonna be so upset to see his queen fall on the field, but Gengar comes out to join Nidoking and immediately goes with the Glaciate, which is gonna hit both Incineroar and Umbreon, taking its first damage of the matchup. Not very effective on Incineroar, however, but it will lower Umbreon and Incineroar's speed, although Gengar was already quicker, but Nidoking now following it up with a reversal onto Umbreon. Super effective, although didn't do a great deal of damage. Umbreon going with the rest, so it's going to put itself to sleep, restore itself back to full strength with that rest, which means Incineroar is going to do some heavy lifting whilst Umbreon is snoozing on the field, and immediately goes for the Aeroblast onto Gengar. Very good hit, good play as a Supersonic is avoided by Incineroar from Gengar, but Nidoking goes with the Ice Punch onto Incineroar. Not very effective, but did decent damage. Umbreon is still fast asleep though, so Incineroar again goes for a Magnetic Flux and fails again. Gengar with the Sacred Fire on the sleeping evolution. As Nidoking now goes for a rest of its own. Nidoking needing to take a break, haven't been in this matchup for a while, as we get a first time warning before we potentially go into overtime. And if we do, all Pokemon who have not been eliminated will be restored back to full health, and it will be a one-on-one single battle, as a Shockwave does not affect Nidoking, but a Shockwave from Gengar will inflict damage on Incineroar, as Nidoking is still asleep. Incineroar still holding on though. Umbreon finally wakes up and goes with the Psych Up. So it copied Gengar's stat changes as Incineroar with a Bug Buzz onto Gengar. Not very effective move on the Poison Ghost type, but Gengar with the Zap Cannon, as we just had our second time on, will eliminate Incineroar from this matchup, which means Umbreon is all by itself, as Nidoking is still fast asleep but still at full strength. As Umbreon goes with the beat up onto Gengar, it's only going to hit once because Umbreon is by itself super effective. It needed that second partner for that one, as Gengar sets up an electric terrain on the field. More terrains taking effect. See if anyone goes for an electric type attack, although it will not connect with Nidoking, who finally wakes up as we're in the countdown before we potentially get to overtime, and a false swipe from Nidoking as Umbreon goes with a mist. It's going to shroud itself in that mist, and now Gengar with the smoke screen, but Umbreon's protected by the mist, and Nidoking goes with the double hit. Hits once, it hits twice. We are potentially going into overtime. We need a huge play here, and Umbreon's going to go with a Core Enforcer. It's going to hit both Nidoking and Gengar. See what it can do here. It gets an elimination. Gengar is taken out of this matchup before we get to overtime. Nidoking and Umbreon are going to be restored to full strength. They are the last remaining Pokemon. Umbreon comes back out onto the field, and Nidoking comes out to face it. Now Nidoking, as we know, is fantastic. Surely it's got this in the bag. It is an evolution, which is very impressive. As a wrap from Nidoking onto Umbreon, so we'll be taking damage, but Umbreon responds with a Sand Tomb, which does damage to Nidoking, super effective, and Nidoking is trapped in the sand, in the quicksand. So Nidoking continues to take damage from that Sand Tomb. Great play there, but Umbreon continues to take damage from the wrap. So both Pokemon have played very well, as Nidoking goes for a Swords Dance here, boosting its stats. It is going to raise that attack greatly. Umbreon now with a Discharge. It doesn't affect Nidoking due to electric typing, but there's that Sand Tomb still inflicting damage onto Nidoking. Good play there by Umbreon. A fantastic play by Nidoking. That wrap still doing damage to Umbreon. These last two Pokemon, Teleport will fail from Nidoking, but Umbreon with a Play Nice, looking to lower the stats here of Nidoking. This could be good by Umbreon, lowering that attack stat back down, and there's that Sand Tomb still doing damage. Nidoking is holding on, but so is Umbreon, still taking damage from the wrap. We need a huge hit from one of these Pokemon, and Nidoking is going for a multi-hit move. Goes for the Fury attack. Surely it's going to get all 5. It's Nidoking. It's got 3. It's got 4. Okay, it only gets 4, but it's still very good to get 4 as Umbreon with a Shell Smash. It's going to lower its defense and special defense, but it's going to raise all of its other stats here. So this could be really good by Umbreon. If with that boosted attack, that boosted special defense, the boosted speed, it's surely going to be moving before Nidoking now, but it is going to take damage from that wrap, which makes it an easy target for Nidoking at the moment, who's still taking damage from the Sand Tomb. That Fury attack was a good play. Umbreon though, going with the Leech Seed, looking to restore health and take it from Nidoking, but Nidoking, speaking of restoring its own health, goes for a Slack Off. Huge health restoration there by Nidoking, but Umbreon does get a little bit of that health from Nidoking to itself with that Leech Seed. Good play by Umbreon, who I think is still taking damage from the wrap, and yes it is, so that Leech Seed has potentially saved Umbreon in this matchup, but Nidoking has been freed from the Sand Tomb. Umbreon goes with the Feather Dance. If Nidoking can go for an offensive move, it will get the elimination, you have to think. Now Nidoking's attack stat does get lowered. Nidoking goes with the Leafage. Umbreon holds on, and that Leech Seed is going to get some health back for it. This is a really good hit by the evolution, getting that health restored. Is that wrap going to continue? No, it has finally been freed, and Umbreon now going with the Acupressure. Now let's remember that Leech Seed is still in play, as the special defense of Umbreon is sharply boosted. That Spit Up from Nidoking fails, and there's that Leech Seed, which is chipping away at Nidoking and benefiting Umbreon greatly here. These two Pokemon back and forth here as Umbreon goes with the block. They're still trying to prevent Nidoking from escaping, but Nidoking will not run away. Nidoking goes with the Hone Claws. It's going to boost its attack. It's going to boost its accuracy. It needs to capitalize on this here. But again, that Leech Seed is actually going to get Umbreon stronger than Nidoking now. Nidoking still getting his health sapped, which is fantastic by the new Morphle Devils as Umbreon now goes for a Fury attack. We saw Nidoking do this to Umbreon. There's 2 hits. Umbreon gets 3 and gets the elimination. Nidoking, what are you doing? How did you lose? You are meant to be fantastic. Nidoking is taken out. The new Morphle Devils have won this match very back and forth. Umbreon held on impressively. We'll see if they can do that as well next round when the new Morphle Devils face the Surchester Frost, as the Jubilite Venom could not get the job done. See if they have much better luck next round when they face the Cinnabar Flare. But in our next matchup, it will be the Pheromones facing the Coney Spring. I look forward to that matchup. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know who you thought was best on the field. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I will see you when you see me. Bye.